very special show, Infy Reboots, a new era begins. We are at the Infosys campus here in Bangalore where we are bringing you this special show, and it indeed is the end of an era at Infosys because the corner office here has always been a bastion of the founders. But for the first time in the company's 3-decade history, the founders have stepped back, appointing a non-founder CEO for the first time, Vishal Sikka. Now, Sikka is no insider, but a high-profile outsider. He was formerly a board member of SAP. Sikka's appointment is both brave and unconventional. But what does it mean for Infosys? We find out in this special report.
So would you say this is the end of an era at Infosys, all the founders stepping away, an outsider coming in to take charge? What do you really feel about that?
No, I would say the fact that we have a wonderful computer scientist who has had excellent business experience, who has innovated extraordinarily, coming in as the CEO, I think it is truly the start of an extraordinary era.
Since its inception over 3 decades back, Infosys has had one unique identity, the identity of its founders led by N.R. Narayan Murthy. But that has changed now. For the first time in history, the founders are taking a clean break, paving way for 47-year-old Vishal Sikka. The former CTO of SAP, regarded globally as a technology visionary and the man who Murthy believes is the right man for the job.
I, being a South Indian, did not know, and I asked him, what does your last name mean? He said, it means money, it means coin. And then he said, Vishal Sikka means, he didn't say that. I think my good friend Rajiv, the CFO, is always worried about big money. He said, Vishal Sikka means lots of money, big money. So I said, this is what we need for Infosys. We are so happy that the man who represents big money and with a big intellectual competence is coming to us.
Sikka, a PhD from Stanford and the son of an Indian Railways official, quit SAP just last month. Though he spent his entire career in the US, he's no stranger to Infosys. A regular speaker at their annual strategy meets and someone who found favor with both Murthy and KV Kamath, the head of the nominations committee.
We started with no preset mindset that we are going to zero in and narrow in on Vishal Sikka on day one. Not at all. But when we started talking to the various candidates, and when we looked at Vishal and then tried to look at what we wanted, a transformational leader, we said not only we have a transformational leader, he has actually all these qualities and qualifications.
So what does the former board member of SAP bring to the table? A reputation as a technology visionary and the brain behind SAP's data crunching software, HANA. A man who can give Infosys a facelift in terms of image at a turbulent time. Sikka's product background may be seen as a drawback, but the man himself is confident for now.
As to the road ahead, I think it is still too early. I am extremely excited about working with the Infosians around the world, including here, and with our clients to learn and understand.
While UB Praveen has been made Chief Operating Officer, nearly 12 leaders have been elevated as Senior Vice Presidents. In a significant move, Narayan Murthy and Chris Balakrishnan will be stepping down as Chairman and Vice Chairman later this month. Rohan Murthy too will exit with his dad. The decision to step back is a sign that the founders want to give Sikka the freedom to operate and dispel concerns about a dual structure. Sikka spent his formative years in Vadodara, a constituency where Prime Minister Narendra Modi contested from and won this election. Modi's victory has sparked hope of an India turnaround. It remains to be seen then if Sikka too can bring in Achhe Din at Infosys. With Chandrashekar in Bangalore, Tanya Bharadwaj, ET Now, Mumbai.
Now, Vishal Sikka is not an entirely new name. His name has come up before in the CEO race for Infosys. But the question remains, how will a man with a product and technology background really straddle the world of IT services? Vishal Sikka, though, seems confident for now. Let's listen into what he had to say.
It's incredibly exciting, and I'm really proud to be joining Infosys to take the lead of such an iconic and pioneering company. I think my background at SAP helped uniquely with the opportunity here. Software is basically changing the world all around us, and I think when you look at the ability of Infosys to serve that great opportunity of our times, I'm really excited about that. It is, in that sense, very similar to the work that I was doing.
But does it mean that Infosys will move towards more automation away from the bread and butter business, your presence here?
I think that it is possible for us to do both, to continue the traditional business and in addition bring in new avenues of growth and innovation. But in the early days, we have to learn, and I want to better understand the company and then come up with a plan going forward.
And will we see an Infosys 4.0 under your leadership? Last question.
Time will tell.
That incidentally was the first interview that Vishal Sikka gave as a CEO of Infosys, and he gave it to ET Now. But who is Vishal Sikka and what does he bring to the table? We find out in this special profile.
"47-year-old, two-time entrepreneur and former Chief Technology Officer at SAP, Punjab-born Vishal Sikka now has a new login. CEO of India's largest software giant, Infosys Technologies. After a brief orientation program at Infy's Mysore campus, Sikka will head the company from his corner office in California, where he currently lives with his wife and 2 children. An avid blogger and Twitter personality, Vishal Sikka, like most of his predecessors at Infosys, is a self-made corporate honcho. Born in India, his mother was a school teacher while his father was an engineer with Indian Railways. Sikka attended college in Vadodara, secured a master's degree from Syracuse, and went on to complete his doctorate from Stanford University. He started his career at Xerox in Palo Alto and founded iBrain and Boda.com before joining SAP in 2002 and quickly climbing the ladder to become its Chief Technology Officer in 2007. A car accident in Costa Rica in 2008 is said to be the turning point in Vishal Sikka's life. It inspired him to redirect his focus on innovation in computing, data and technology, and thus was born one of SAP's fastest selling products, the HANA software. In Feb 2010, Sikka was appointed as member of SAP's executive board, on which he served until his exit from the company in May this year. Vishal Sikka is one of the most popular amongst Silicon Valley's elite, a personal friend of Microsoft Satya Nadella and SAP's founder Hasso Plattner. His name literally translates to big money, and that is exactly what Infosys hopes he will bring to the table as its first ever external non-founder CEO. With Chandrashekar, Nitya Balakrishnan, ET Now, Bangalore.
Sikka, certainly a brave and unconventional choice, but the Infosys CEO selection process had its fair share of controversy and drama. A process that was wrapped under 2 months since Shibulal announced his decision to step down ahead of his retirement term. But KV Kamath, the lead independent director of Infosys and the chairman designate, defended the selection process to us in this very candid interview.
Vishal Sikka fit our bill. Our bill was very clear that we did not articulate this to the outside world, but we need a transformative leader, somebody who can transform the company in the context of the changes that are happening in this business, the software business. And at the same time has got the ability, we believe, to run a company of this size. So you had to look at a person from a fairly large company, having shown what I would call third-party accepted transformative skills, and then, of course, having run a fairly large business. And when we went into depth, when we talked to Vishal in detail, we were very clear that he was the right candidate. But we went through the due process a priori of looking at the internal slate, looking at several outside candidates along with Vishal, and then going ahead and narrowing down on him.
Right. Also, sir, there are some concerns that perhaps Vishal Sikka held an edge over the others because, you know, he knew the Infosys leadership from his relationship with SAP. He knows Mr. Murthy, he knows you. So, you know, how would you really address concerns that the selection process was fair, that it wasn't a predetermined choice, so to speak?
No, I think firstly there were issues whether Vishal left his previous employer after he was in dialogue with Infosys. Not at all, absolutely not. We came to know that he was leaving after he had put in his papers, and thereafter Egon Zehnder, the search firm, contacted him, and thereafter it followed a natural course. I think it's always possible that in an interview process or a shortlist process, you know a few candidates. But I don't think, unless you are unprofessional, you give anybody an edge. And in any case, in Vishal's case, I would think that he's such an outstanding candidate that he did not need that edge, even if we were willing to give him. But I can tell you, we didn't give him an edge.
And was it also imperative for the founders to take a step back? Because the concern was that, there will be a dual power structure with a personality like Mr. Murthy towering above, that any CEO who comes in needs that sort of independence and discretionary, powers to do as he wishes. So was that necessary?
Yeah, but Chandra, that's where, you did not second guess it. But there are a lot of people second guessing that the power structure is going to be as such. It'll create complications, and basically reading too much into the future in terms of what could happen. I think that has been proven wrong, because it is very clear to us we will have a structure which will take this company into the next its next orbit, as it were. And I think we have a clear structure here. We have a CEO, and he drives, along with the COO, a team of candidates who we believe are outstanding, of the right age to deliver value to Infosys for the next 1.5 to 2 decades. That's the age group that we have now got. So in a way, the structure has all fallen in place to lead this company into the next into its next evolution.
Now, K.V. Kamath wasn't the only nominations committee member we spoke to. We also spoke to Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, who was closely involved with the CEO selection process. Here's what she had to say.
Mr. Murthy was very keen that Dr. Sikka gets a free hand, and he's able to lead and drive growth in a very in his own way. And I think it was already indicated that many of the founders had expressed their desire to now play a different role. So I think they were they wanted to actually step down.
Would you rate this process as a success, considering you'll wrapped it up pretty quickly and you'll manage to get a candidate who's as high profile as Vishal Sikka?
I think this has been a very, very enriching experience for me personally. I think it certainly came to this very, very fruitful end, because I think we chose an outstanding person to lead Infosys. I think the founders have done an excellent job leading the company to where it is today. And I'm sure Mr. Sikka will now lead it further to another level.
You heard out a very confident K.V. Kamath and Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, but it's really not clear what the street verdict is, going by the way the Infosys stock reacted today. We spoke to a number of analysts through the day to really try to get a sense of what the street makes of Vishal Sikka's appointment.
Vishal clearly brings very strong understanding of how the world is changing in terms of the technology. He has done leading edge work at SAP, and so I think that certainly helps Infosys shape some of their efforts around new technologies. To assume that suddenly Infosys will be at a much higher growth path, I think would be premature, and from that standpoint, we would not see any material upside in the share price in the near term.
In the near term, with the new appointment of an external CEO, you can have further mid and senior level attrition in the company. So, but over the 2 quarters, I expect stability to return and attrition to moderate from Q3 FY15 onwards.
Welcome back. We now take this discussion forward with 2 very special guests. the Balakrishnan, the former board member of Infosys, a person who spent over 2 decades there, and of course our Chandrashekar, the NASSCOM president, who will really give us an industry perspective. Thank you so much for joining us, both of you. I really want to start with you, Bala. As a former board member of Infosys, someone who spent over 2 decades there, what do you really make of Vishal Sikka's appointment as CEO?
No, I think it is the right thing to happen for the company. Vishal comes with a high pedigree. He is well-respected name in the industry. He managed large global corporations. So I think choice of the CEO is very good, and it removes one big uncertainty for the company, because the CEO transition was taking time and it created a lot of flux in the organization and leadership. I think there is a certainty and a good choice has been made, so I think it's good for Infosys.
I also want to bring in R. Chandrashekar into this discussion. Mr. Chandrashekar, I just want to understand from you, from an industry perspective, what does Vishal Sikka's appointment really mean? Because it's quite unusual to appoint someone like Sikka, considering he comes from a product and technology background, isn't it?
Well, I think that, first and foremost, he's a well-known figure in the industry. This marks the culmination and the end of the process of appointment and a successor to Mr. Narendra, which had been in the air for some time. So I think all of this having been brought to a successful conclusion is a very good augury. Of course, Mr. Narendra has been a pioneer in Infosys. He has been an ambassador for the industry, and he will certainly continue to be one. But I think that the entry of Mr. Vishal Sikka is very positive and significant from other ways as well. That, as you mentioned, he comes from a different background. This is also a time when, within the Indian IT industry, we have a lot of activity in the startup and product and innovation segment, and that's also an area of strength and a background of his. And as we try to move towards integrating products and innovation into the service offerings of Indian companies to deliver innovation and business value and transformation which clients all over the world are seeking, I think on the whole this represents a very positive movement and a positive outcome.
Bala, in a sense, it's also the end of an era at Infosys with all the founders stepping back. What does this really mean for the organization going forward, both in terms of culture and the future going ahead?
I think it is inevitable. It has to happen at some point of time, and it has happened now. I think culturally Infosys is a very strong founder-driven company. Now Vishal has to create that emotional connect with the employees and make sure the culture does not change, and that is going to be a big task in front of him. And of course he has to focus on markets and get the revenue growth back, build confidence in the leadership, build a core team. So the challenges are big, and I am sure Vishal will be able to address all those challenges.
But Bala, what does it also mean in terms of Infy's focus going forward? Does this mean the focus will now shift to new technologies, the whole SMAC space, and they will increasingly move away from the bread and butter businesses, move more towards automation?
No, I think anyway the industry has to do it, because the differentiation between products and services is getting more and more blurred. And most of the future growth is going to come from innovation, products, platform, solutions. That is where the industry is moving. But in the short term, you can't avoid the bread and butter business. You have to focus on that. So I think he has to focus on the bread and butter business, and he has to keep investing for the long term to create those product and solutions opportunities.
Mr. Chandrashekar, Bala spoke about how this change was inevitable for Infosys. But do you think this change is inevitable for the industry as well? That it's a sign of a larger change that we are going to see for the IT industry going forward?
I think that, we are witnessing within the IT industry today a phase where the newer technologies, especially SMAC or social media, mobility, analytics and cloud, have brought in their wake a rash of innovation and complete versioning of new startup companies. So in a sense, this segment, which is already growing at twice the pace of the rest of the industry, does represent the new direction and the new phase of the industry. So I entirely agree that this does present this new change that has come about in the industry.
Bala, you mentioned how this change was inevitable, but concerns remain because of Vishal Sikka's background. I mean, he's a virtual stranger to the Indian IT services landscape. He has a products and technology background. He's seen as a technology visionary. So, do you think that could be a problem in the way he manages things at Infosys, or if that could be a challenge going forward?
No, that is a concern. It will get addressed over a period of time, because services is totally different business than products, and but it's not very difficult for a person like Sikka to manage the services, because at the end of the day, as I said, the differentiation between products and services are blurring more and more, and I think he'll be able to manage that.
But Bala, does it also mean the whole turnaround process at Infosys will take longer than expected? Mr. Murthy last year said 36 months, but Sikka's appointment, has it delayed the process of turnaround?
I think it will take some time, because he is coming from external and he has to get used to the Infosys culture. He has to build a core team, because in the last 1 year, I think most of the people in the core team had left. That was the biggest strength for Infosys. So he has to build his own core team. He has to create the emotional connect with the employees. He has to get connected with the customers. I think it will take some time, and I don't think it will happen in a quarter. So it will take some time, but he has to come with his own vision and own strategy and start executing on that, communicate well to the market and get their confidence back.
Mr. Chandrashekar, do you think this is also a vindication of the Indian IT industry and its prospects going forward? The fact that an Indian company has been able to attract global talent in the position of a CEO, a former SAP board member in that sense.
Oh, absolutely. I think that this certainly does emphasize and re-endorse the globalized nature and appeal and reach of the Indian IT industry. And in a sense, it also is a recognition of the increasing importance of this space within India of innovation and products, and bringing that center stage in what the Indian IT industry has to offer.
Bala and Mr. Chandrashekar, thank you so much for joining us today for this very special discussion. With that, really, we come to the end of this special broadcast from the Infosys campus here in Bangalore. It's not clear yet if Vishal Sikka can work his magic. It's too early to tell. But whatever happens, one thing is certain: Infosys will never be the same minus its founders. It's been a pleasure bringing you the show, and we end the show with visuals that define the Infosys journey over the decades.
Congratulations to ET Now on completing 5 wonderful years. ET Now has scaled up using innovation, hard work, and some extraordinary ideas. They have reporters who are enthusiastic, energetic, inquisitive, and very persuasive. They have anchors who ask deep questions, who are very provocative. Overall, I must say that ET Now has delivered extraordinary value to Indian business during the last 5 years of their existence.